The Oldowan chopper. These are the earliest known tools used by human ancestors nearly 2.5 million years ago. They are deceptively simple, usually consisting of a river cobble that has been struck with another stone to create a jagged, sharp edge. While they look like ordinary rocks to the untrained eye, they allowed early hominids to break open bones for marrow and scrap meat off carcasses. This marked a massive shift in diet and brain development because it provided access to high-energy food sources that were previously unreachable. The Acheulean hand axe. This represents a significant leap in cognitive ability because the tool was shaped according to a specific, symmetrical plan. Shaped like a teardrop or a leaf, these bifacial tools were flaked on both sides to create a long, continuous cutting edge. They were the Swiss Army knives of the Paleolithic era, used for butchering large animals, digging for tubers, and even chopping wood. These tools were so effective and versatile that they remained in use for over 1 million years across Africa, Europe, and Asia. The Mousterian scraper. Associated largely with Neanderthals, these tools were made using the levallois technique, which involved carefully preparing a stone core before striking off a single, large flake. This allowed for much more control over the size and sharpness of the final product. Scrapers were essential for survival in colder climates because they were used to clean and soften animal hides. Without these specialized edges to process skins into clothing and shelter, prehistoric groups would have struggled to inhabit northern regions during the Ice Ages. The aurignacian blade. As modern humans began to spread, tool making became much more efficient. Rather than making one large tool from one rock, craftsmen learned to strike long, thin slivers called blades from a single stone core. These blades were twice as long as they were wide and could be modified into various specialized instruments. This technique saved raw material and allowed for the creation of delicate tools like burins, which were used for engraving bone and wood, signaling the beginning of complex art and symbolism. The microlith. These are tiny, sharp stone segments, often less than a centimeter long, that were never meant to be used on their own. Instead, they were designed to be glued into wooden or bone handles using resin or bitumen. By lining up several microliths in a row, hunters could create serrated spears or harpoons. This modular approach meant that if one part of the tool broke, it could be easily replaced without discarding the entire weapon. It was a major innovation in hunting technology that coincided with the shift towards smaller, faster game. The bone needle. While not made of stone, this was one of the most transformative tools of the later Stone Age. Created by grinding down slivers of bone or antler against an abrasive rock, these needles featured a tiny drilled hole for thread made of sinew or plant fiber. This allowed for the creation of tailored, layered clothing that fit the body closely. This level of insulation was a primary reason humans were able to survive in the harshest Arctic environments, as it provided a level of warmth that draped animal furs simply could not offer. The Clovis point. Found primarily in North America, these are some of the most famous examples of late Stone Age craftsmanship. They are characterized by a distinct flute or groove at the base, which allowed the point to be securely lashed to a wooden spear shaft. The thinness and extreme sharpness of these points made them incredibly lethal against the megafauna of the time, such as mammoths and mastodons. The precision required to flake these stones without snapping them shows a level of skill that was at the absolute peak of flint knapping technology. The polished stone celt. Appearing toward the end of the Stone Age during the Neolithic transition, these tools were no longer made just by chipping stone away. Instead, they were ground and polished using sand and water until they were perfectly smooth. This process made the stone much tougher and less likely to shatter upon impact. These heavy-duty axes were specifically designed for large-scale woodworking and clearing forests. They were the essential tools of the first farmers, enabling them to build permanent timber houses and open up land for agriculture.